All right, you grasshoppers, we are back with the famous, just so you know, too, the Pat Barr here, former Navy SEAL, big tough guy. He's like one of those hip guys. He lives on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, hanging out, and the cool people up there. So don't let him fool you. He seems like he's that humble Navy SEAL, but he's big time New Yorker. So how you doing, bud?
Good. How you doing?
Good. How's our friend there that got shot there?
He's doing great. He's doing great. It's kind of a miraculous recovery. Right. Everybody thought he was going to die, and he's bounced back. So, he's doing great.
That's excellent. That's good news.
Good
news. So you and I, after a few episodes now, we went deep last week there. Some feelings and all that kind of stuff. The old hockey player and Navy SEAL talking about feelings and everything. So we're going to continue that theme here a little bit. Today we're going to talk about your dreams and how important it is to if you really have a dream for something that you follow it no matter what, and all the people that may go against you, whatever it is, and just keep got to keep pushing ahead, and how you find the strength to do that too. So so we've talked before about your dreams of being a Navy SEAL. You got to think like most places in the country, some kid comes back and they tell all their friends and family and neighbors and everything he's going to be a Navy SEAL.
Yep.
Most people are like, well, as much as you admire Navy SEALs, you're like, what? You must have. Did you get some negativity when you said you're going to be a Navy SEAL?
Totally. From kind of everybody. Everybody was trying to talk me out of it. My parents included. It was from, a place of love they were coming from. But,
right.
Look, I don't know. I think what a lot of people think about Navy SEALs is like, you've got to be like a phenomenal athlete. You've got to be, whatever. And I wasn't. I was just an average guy. And they were just kind of like, you know what? Like, I don't want you to do that.
Did you get some people? So there's some people that loved you. They just didn't want you to get hurt or whatever it is. Did you ever have people, though, that just doubted you, that just thought you couldn't do it?
Well, I think everybody doubted me.
Well,
yeah, I think everybody did. My family was very supportive, but I think everybody doubted me.
Yeah. Like I know for me, I guess somewhat's a little bit different, but, growing up in Canada, hockey's such a big thing. So everybody's always, dreaming of playing in the National Hockey League. But I think it's also one of those things like, well, it's like winning the lottery. Like, okay, well, sure, everybody wants to do it. You're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I don't know if I ever really listened to anybody when they said I couldn't do it. I think I was so fortunate that I grew up the way I did with my father and grandfather. It was just that mentality, we got to get up and milk the cows every day. So there was didn't get up and think about it. You didn't get up and say, well, maybe I don't feel like it or whatever. You just went ahead and did it, right? So I think that for me that's the life that I grew up with. So if somebody ever doubted me about playing in the NHL, I just didn't pay attention, right? I think that's one of the biggest things you got to have, right? What's that old saying? It's great to go around and listen to everybody else's opinion, and then just go ahead and do whatever the heck you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a way for you?
Totally. I grew up with a lot of support. I had great parents. I just felt like I could do anything, Yeah.
Is that right? So you did, but even you're that humble guy that, isn't, you're not loud and all that kind of stuff. So you even had that then, that it was just, I'm just going to do it.
Well, yeah. Thanks to my parents. Again, I wasn't a special athlete. I wasn't anything special. But I just knew that I could probably become a SEAL,
You really did, right? So and I don't mean to say this in a negative way. I think it's great, but like again, you don't have that. You're not the loud guy that's beating out there. You just had that strength inside you that I don't need to tell everybody about this. I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
Well, I was obsessed with becoming a SEAL.
Right.
Like it was just the only thing I wanted to do in life. Excuse me. So I was just, just driven,
So
I'm sure the same with you with the NHL.
Yeah, totally. I think I've told this story too, but there was I'd gone to college at Northern Michigan University. So my first year of college was the first year they had a hockey team up there. So we didn't have any upperclassmen or anything. We're all freshmen. We're all a bunch of mudheads. And we were sitting around the dorm one day. I remember this guy who's a really good guy. We're just sitting chatting, and he just calmly said, well, nobody from this team's ever going to play in the National Hockey League, right? It was that mentality that you're not going to make it. And I remember just going, like, I went off on him, and it was unfair to him because he didn't mean any harm. But like, I was just insulted that he would say that, because my dream goal was to play in the National Hockey League. And I remember thinking to myself after, like, I kind of lost my temper. It's like, oh man, I kind of lost it there. But that's just, you know, I felt that way, that strongly about it, that's was my goal and dream. You know, and one of the things I've learned since then too, whatever goal you dream have, and I've heard other people talk about this, where you've got to be willing to go it alone sometimes too, right? If you've got a goal or a dream, and it's not just like everybody else's goal or dream, you're going to be alone. Like, I'm sure for you know, all your buddies that you'd grown up with and everything, they weren't dreaming to be a Navy SEAL, and you had to be willing to say, well, they're going off and doing their thing. I'm by myself here, and I've got to be by myself to attain my goal.
Totally. And it's, you know, Buds is like, it's a team sport in some ways, but it's really just, it's on you. I mean, you've just got to bear down and do it, you know. It's a lot of brutal days, but you've just got to do it.
So the training part too. So like, how much training would you guys do where you, like, you know, sticking with that theme of being alone? I guess most of your training was done as a team though, right?
Yeah, it was. We had boat crews, which it comprised of 7 guys. But a lot of it, you know, was, you know, you were doing runs, the obstacle course, swims. So it was, you know, on you.
Right.
You know,
and the one thing for me too is, you know, I think it's important that once you get, like, you've accomplished your dream. Like for me, I accomplished my dream of being in the National Hockey League, obviously my first year. So now, okay, I played my first NHL game. I'm now in the NHL. For you, you've now passed Buds, and you go through the whole process, and now you're a Navy SEAL. It's an ability then to say, okay, well, that I've accomplished that dream, but I can't just stop there, right? It's like, now I want to be the best Navy SEAL ever. I want to be the best national hockey player. And for me, if I look back at something, and like, I don't really regret it, because I lived a dream, you know, playing the NHL for 11 years. But if I was to do something over again, I think I would have been more, you know, that mentality with that, it's almost a little bit of arrogance, almost like, I don't want to just be an NHL player. I want to be the best NHL player. And I've said this before too, where Wayne Gretzky and I, the only similarity we really had was that we both had dreams, right? But his dream was to be the best player that ever played. Mine was just to be a player in the National Hockey League. And you know, that's the thing I would have changed. I would have dreamed bigger. I'm sure you probably look back at stuff too that you.
Well, totally. I mean, you know, SEAL Team 6 would have been a thing that I would want to do, you know. You know, I got fed up with the military. That's why I got out.
Right.
But yeah,
SEAL Team 6. So what was the difference then? Like, what if you were to do that again to get on SEAL Team 6? What would you have done different?
Well, nothing. You know, I could have gone to SEAL Team 6, but you know, I was fed up with being away from home all the time and all that kind of thing. So
if you had just stuck with it, you eventually would have got to SEAL Team 6.
Well, I don't know. That's, you know, probably not, because it's that hard.
Right.
You know, Chris, who, you know, he's screening for SEAL Team 6 again.
Right.
You know, in about a year. But yeah, no, it's very tough. But it's something that would have been a goal of mine if I stayed in, you know.
And does it mean, so it's one of those things you look back at, like later on in life, if you were to make it, you go, okay, it's a dream come true, and I had to put all this hard work into it. Like, you look back at it and go, wow, I really accomplished that, right? That was like great.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, becoming a SEAL is one thing, and then getting to Team 6 is a whole nother level. Like, it's really, it's something.
It's funny, like, you know, you talked about along the way too, that you've got this dream of doing something. And I think some people have the perception, you know, that like if you've been successful, it's just this constant going up all the time, right? You're dreaming of it, you're working at it, it's going to get better and better. And one of the things I think about dreams is that you need to be strong enough with your dreams too, that you know you're going to fail at some point, that you're going to be pushed back at some point. You're going to do something. Maybe you're talking about my stupid mistakes, trying out for the Canadian Olympic team or whatever it is. You're going to do something maybe, you do to yourself, or just something happens to you. And like you said it so well, and I love the way you said it. It was a couple of weeks ago. You talked about life's not fair, right? Like you've got dreams and goals, and just because something happens to you, you just don't quit, right?
No, right. I mean, I failed runs, I failed the obstacle course, I failed swims, like everything. There were so many failures in my road to becoming a SEAL.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
And during those times, so if you failed at something, did you, and I heard another Navy SEAL talk about it too, where he was in a battle and he got knocked back, and he didn't, he didn't think about making some big heroic, like it wasn't like the music was playing like in a movie or something like that, where he's going to stand up, and he's going to like Rocky, in a movie. He just had to get up and say, okay, what is the next thing I have to do? First of all, to survive and get to the next level, right? It's that, okay, what's the next thing I got to do?
That's all it is. I mean, you have to pick yourself back up. I mean, it's just, there's going to be failures in life. You have to overcome them by putting them behind you, Yeah.
It is true, right? And it sounds kind of easy sometimes, but it's that getting up mentality. And I think, what it is too, it's like training yourself to do that, like training your mind, doing it over and over, right?
Totally. It's not easy, but you have to learn how to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think you learn how to do it through a series of failures and mishaps and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So,
for me too, like I found, we talked this, I feel like I'm getting better at it now because I've started this whole more disciplined life, the getting up at 3:30 and making the bed perfect and go for the march at 4:00 and the diet. Yeah. So I find if I fail at something now, I feel like, okay, that's fine. I'm just going to keep on grinding through it. Right.
Well, I think when you're young, failures seem much more of a big deal. You know what I mean? Once you learn you're going to fail a bunch, you start to get used to it, and you're like, okay, you learn how to overcome it,
And you've even talked about, like, in your training and leading up to your deployments, like you guys push yourself to the point that you're looking for that failure point, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Right. No, I mean, leading up to deployment was, like I said, the training was worse than actual combat, because they just push you so hard. And that's necessary. You know what I mean? You're going to fail. You're going to screw up. But that's part of life.
Right. So I was, when you told me that, I never realized that before, but I thought that was pretty cool the way you said it too, is that when you do the training, you're not training for success necessarily. You want to be successful out there, but you're pushing you want to push yourself to the point in your training that you're going to fail. What is that point? And what do I do once I've reached that point?
It's to the breaking point, and it's like, are you going to keep moving forward, or are you going to give up?
Right.
So, yeah.
And so for people out there that have goals and dreams, whether it's kids that are in school, or people are trying to make some sports team, or somebody in their career, or even a relationship, I think that's important, right? That you're dreaming of being something, but don't be afraid of that failure, right? It's like, be great at what you're doing. It's funny. I don't know if you saw, it's funny. It's how it's carried over in all parts of my life now. Is a quick little story. On Friday, they had me down. We were working with Ronald McDonald House. We had a charity we were doing, and RBC Bank. They had me down ringing the closing bell down on New York Stock Exchange on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I'll show you the video.
That's awesome.
So you've got the mallet, the wooden mallet.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to people down there, and of course, the big dummy that I am, it was like, I had to ask how many times it had been broken before. And then some other athlete had broke it one time, and some little 12-year-old boy had broken the mallet. So it's my mission now. I said, I want to break the mallet, right? So it's so there I was, the bell rings, and there was everybody in their suits and everything and all this kind of stuff. And I'm giving everything I can to try to break that mallet. So I'm banging it. And I went downstairs after, and the guy was laughing at me, the guy that's kind of in charge of me. He says, "You were trying to break the mallet, weren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, after it broke a couple of times, we reinforced it. So if you had broken it, we're pretty good." But I really like this about what's happened in my life. Like, I know that's a small little example, but like I just learned to go all out in everything I'm doing. Probably even more than when I played in the NHL. Was like sometimes you have those fears of making mistakes, you know. And I think I've like, God, I don't care about making mistakes anymore. You know, I want to go for it.
Yeah, you've got to believe in yourself. You know, there's no one around. Like, I don't know. Trying to put this into words, but your support system, everything around you, like, it's not going to get the job done. Like, you have to get the job done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're doing anything, and even the bigger your dream is, even that's even more, right? Because like for your family who loved you and everything, they'd never been through training for a Navy SEAL. So really, like, I knew you had another gentleman that helped you, but for most people around here, they've never done that before, and they can cheer you on all they want or be worried about you, but they really can't guide you through the Navy SEAL process. Right?
Yeah, totally. And they were trying to talk me out of it just to protect me. You know what I mean? Right. You know, if I listened to them, I wouldn't be sitting here with you right now. You know, I'd be working in a bank or doing whatever.
Right.
So you have to trust your instincts.
And what do you think about? Well, I'll tell you. Like, so for me, as I've gotten older, like I think you can go in a couple of different directions, right? Some people can just say, all right, I'm getting older now. I've accomplished a dream. I had some dream that earlier on in life, I've accomplished it. I'm just going to put it on cruise control, which is fine if people don't really have other pursuits. But for me, I think it's like, God, I like constantly having new dreams and new goals you're going after, even if you got older, right?
Yep. No, me too. Look, for me personally, I think you have to have goals in life. Right. You have to constantly be pursuing them. You know, and a lot of people I don't think are like that, but I think it's necessary in my life.
Yeah. And I think too, again, like you said, I think we're both being careful here. We don't want to paint the picture to anybody, be telling them, listen, if you don't have a goal or 60 years old, then there's something wrong with you. That's not the case at all.
No.
If you've led life and you've had a fantastic life, you want to kind of cruise along, that's fantastic. But I just, man, for me, I just think now, same with you. You've already, and this is kind of the similarity between the sports world and the military. Like you accomplish a goal at an early stage in your life, and then now in your 30s, all of a sudden, the goal that you were after, you've accomplished it, and now you're done. So now what do you do with your life?
Right, and I think that's a big reason why I started drinking, because I got out of the teams, and I didn't know, I was listless. You know what I mean? I had no idea what direction I was going in. But to be able to refocus and focus on a goal is so important.
Right. And I think, you know, obviously it's easy to say this too. You've got to pay bills, right? You've got your goal, your dream, what you're after. You've got to be able to pay your bills, right? Especially if you've got a family, people relying on you. But you can't, to me, there's an old play. Well, not old. Mark Messier was a famous player, and I remember him being quoted. He was quoted. He was playing for the Edmonton Oilers, and there was some contract negotiation. And it's pretty cool the way he said it. I think the quote was, "If you concentrate on doing your job properly, the money will take care of itself." Right. So instead of him worrying about his contract, he said, "I'm just going to go about and be the best player I can be, and then the money will fall." So it's the same thing with any goals or dreams you have. Yes, you have to be able to pay your bills, but concentrate on being the best person or whatever your goal or dream is, and then the money will follow after.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
So what's the next step for Patrick Barr then? So and I mean this very seriously. So just to refresh everybody that's listening. So Patrick Barr's made it to the Navy SEALs, got all through the training, gets out of the teams. You just mentioned you had a hard time dealing with it, turned to alcohol. You've now fought through all that. Now you're off in the right direction. What do you want to do next?
So I'm partnering with a buddy of mine who was on Team 8 with me, and we're coming up with a nonprofit called Veteran Elite Team Building, and it's specifically to help guys who are transitioning from the military into the civilian world.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
There was when I was down in Virginia Beach. I think I told you I was down at that training center that one guy had where they do all the physical training. He was a Navy SEAL that put it all together.
Ollie.
Ollie, that's right. Yeah. So that's same. I mean, obviously, the same thing. Where you're helping other military.
Yep. I'm
Very
just
cool.
trying to give back, you know,
Right.
'cause I know how tough that struggle is, you know,
Right.
getting out. Everybody told me it was going to be tough, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Like it won't be tough for me, and it was,
Yeah.
you know.
So you know what I like about you too is that you're right from the start when you and I met each other. You were not in any way afraid to talk about what you'd gone through. In fact, you wanted to talk about it. That's one of the things we first talked about. I think in our first conversation, you
Yep.
wanted to talk about that so you could help other people. They could see that what you'd gone through and how you were.
Yeah, no, totally. I feel a need to give back. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because I know personally how tough that struggle is
Right.
getting out.
Right.
So yeah, no, I'm excited about it.
Good. All right. So, guys, just a little recap too. I know we've talked about this a few times on the show, but we've talked about how we're going to have the True Grit Life Ruck Challenge, and I think we may have intimidated a few people here, thinking that it's going to be a little bit of a you've got a Navy SEAL and an ex NHL player.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that everybody understands that this is not in any way going to be some grueling test where we're making you crawl under barbed wire or bullets being shot over your head or anything like that. It's a challenge for everybody of any age, of any fitness level. It is not a competition. In fact, it's the exact opposite, really. What we really want to have happen here, we have a group of people that are all working together. You know, and a big belief of mine, I know Pat's too, is that if you're a real strong person, you don't push other people down. If you're a real strong person, you pull other people up with you. And that's one of the things we want to have happen with this Ruck Challenge. So we're being careful there, taking our time building this up so we get enough people to really have fun with this. But again, we just want to be very clear. If you're whatever, male, female, young, old, whatever, come join us. It's going to be a fun time, hopefully a learning event for everybody. So maybe Pat and I might have a little bit of a competition, but other than that, everybody else will have fun.
I'm gonna kick your ass in the competition.
We like that. Okay, good. All right, guys. So great talk today. Again, we've touched on our dreams here and how important it is to understand that if you're going to have a dream and follow it, you don't ask for permission from somebody else. You're going to have to go it alone sometimes. You know that's going to happen. But if you really want to have your dreams, you just got to keep pounding away at it. Not worry about making mistakes. Just keep getting up and keep going. So good talk.
Yep. Thanks, Tom.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Bye.